Welcome to the Dating with Katy podcast. Today I'm talking about material objects, clothes, watches, homes, cars. Do they matter in dating? I'll let you know in just a minute. But first, I would love for you to subscribe. Give me 5 stars on your favorite listening podcast zone. And then also make sure you're in my database. I have some great clients right now. Most of my clients are men. If you'd like to be one, you've got to also get in the database. That's how I know you want to work with me. I learn a little bit more about what you're looking for. And so that way I can source for you. I'm basically a recruiter looking for just the coolest, qualitiest people who are actually ready to date. So I call those my 20%ers. So make sure you click the link below, the work with me link, and get in today. Don't wait. And honestly, just get a photo in and get your name and let me know that you want to work with me, and we'll make sure to reach out. All right. And also I'm going to be talking about some of my courses in today's podcast because I've got some great courses that are a great price point. I mean, $14 for my course, 14 Days to Dating Success. Look, I want to make my wisdom from a decade of matchmaking accessible to everybody. So check all those out at datingwithkaty.com. And then send this to a friend, because if we could just make the dating world better, it would just be better for everybody. Am I right? All right. Okay, so let's talk about the nitty gritty. And I'm going to get pushback for this. I just know, but I'm cool with that because I know where I stand, and because what I do for a living. There's a lot of relationship coaches out there who are, they're 20. Like you, what do you know about life, sweetheart? You're making money off your YouTube channel, but you have 0 kids. You're traipsing around the world acting like you are the queen of every relationship you've ever been in. But that doesn't qualify someone to be giving good advice. And let me tell you, I have been divorced. I have dated the gamut. My kids knew I was dating. It wasn't a secret. I enjoyed dating. I met amazing people who I'm still friends with today. I still set them up with other people. And now I'm happily married. So I did something right. So make sure you're just following people who are living what you want, right? I'm doing a course right now called Getting to Taken, helping women understand where do we find the men who want the same thing, and how do we make sure it's going to happen in our life before wasting our valuable time. But speaking of valuables right now, we're going to talk about, does your car, does your watch, do your clothes, does your stuff matter in dating? And guess what? It sure does. And you know that's true. You might not like the fact that it's true, but you know it's true. Just as the reverse is true. Do looks matter in dating? 100% they do. Now, how much do they matter? That could be a different story, and that's going to be different for everybody. But how you look absolutely changes your dating game. It's like if your house is on the market and you don't want to clean up the front yard and put new paint and new plants in, well, you're not going to get as many interested buyers. What you need to do is 2.0 yourself. And I have 2 courses, one for men, one for women, that I'm going to sell to you right now. And I don't pitch this a lot, but it's Style Yourself Confident for Men. I spent over an hour showcasing clothing, telling you what women like, talking about your cut, your color, what to wear on a first date, what to wear on a steakhouse date, just so that you can have dating success. I talk about Botox and hair. Like, are you cleaning your nose? Like, I talk about the nitty gritty that maybe no one's told you. You've gone on dates and these girls have said no for a second date because, well, nobody told you that your giant wrinkle lines just age you. And even though you look and feel young, she doesn't think so. And then ladies, I have my 7 steps to sexy for you. You might need to get rid of the sneakers. You might need to go get some sexy high heels. I do an entire week, a whole 1-hour session on like your style, because sexy is in your style. It's your confidence, how you show up. And I also took a survey to see what guys had to say. What was sexy? So you're going to learn what men thought was sexy, because just because you like it and just because your girlfriends think it's cute doesn't always mean that they're going to be like, yes, I want a second date with her. So go get those. Use the code STYLEME, STYLEME, and you will get 10% off. So I'm here to help. So yes, your looks matter just as much as your stuff matters, because they also have deeper connotations, right? So when you take good care of yourself, you're respecting yourself. You're respecting how you look. You're being healthy. You're making right choices. I've always been fit, and people always give me the, oh, you're just born like that, or you're just skinny. No, my parents are both obese, terrible health issues. And it's because I made better choices. And it's that simple. So no victim mentality with me. I made better choices. I make better choices every day to stay and look this way. I choose to keep my skin well. I choose to invest in Botox. I don't lie about it. I would rather go to Forever 21 and buy something cheap and look great in it and invest in Botox because I know where the value lies. So that is important to me, and I keep it that way, and it shows a sign of self-respect. Just as the things you own and how you keep them also shows sign of hard work, work ethic, value sets, self-respect, respect for things and people's things. I mean, just the other day, I had somebody in my house and they were leaning against my wall talking to me. And this is an outside service worker. And my mother would have whooped me if I put my hand on my mom's wall. She's like, "Get your hand off my wall." Probably hit me with a switch, but it's just shocking to me the disrespect that people have now for things, for themselves. And so really this is about a deeper issue of respecting yourself. Well, let's talk about a couple of these material things. And I want to state this, that just because people appreciate and value material things, like I have dated men with $15, $20 million houses, and I can value that. I can look at the creativity, I can look at the design, I can look at the artwork, and I can value that because there's thought and effort. And I'm big on effort going into that. But that doesn't make me materialistic because I don't need that to make me happy. And I just did this whole thing on gold diggers, right? A woman who's not a gold digger, she doesn't need that to make her happy. She's happy. I was happy in my little house, my 1,600 square foot house, looked at a freeway, but I was happy there. And I made it cozy, and I did have artwork. I had home goods artwork, and I love that still. So that's the difference, is that material things will never make you happy, right? They can keep you happy for a moment, and it's nice to enjoy them. But there's a difference between people with joy, and joy is God-given, right? So we want to be people who aren't, we're not up and down because of what we own or what we're wearing. And yes, I own a couple of those things. I'm at a stage now, I do not need one more designer bag. I'm good. Like, how many do I need? I'm getting a closet made. They're like, "Do you want to showcase it all?" No. I don't need to be seeing my designer bags. I need to be using them and letting my friends use them. And that's how you know when someone's not materialistic and not a gold digger. All right, so let's talk about a couple of the different topics, pieces actually that we look at. I know women look at. I know men look at against other men. Let's talk about watches first. And I just had a great friend of mine. She's also a matchmaker. She's the Dubai matchmaker, Christiana. She actually works with our company. She is the premier matchmaker in Dubai. How cool is that? It's now legal to matchmake in Dubai. And she just did a great Instagram reel. Go check it out on watches and the watches that guys wear. So she has her theories, and I'm just going to, some of these watches, I don't even know. I've heard about them, but I haven't seen them. So the first one she talks about is a Rolex, right? Which I have one. It's an investment piece. They do not go down in price. And she says guys who are wearing that are good investors, right? They're practical. They know that it's going to, and lots of people have a Rolex. They pass them down. So Rolex is, okay, you see a guy with a Rolex, all right, he's a wise guy. Then she also talks about the AP. Not even sure what that is, but she says a guy who's wearing an AP is masculine. He's usually good looking. And she chimes in, if you catch us in her Instagram reel, she says he's probably a spanker. I don't know how she knows that, but we'll just go with that. Then she also talks about Patek Philippe. And the Patek, she says the guys are, or is it Philippe Patek? I get those wrong. But she says guys who wear that are sophisticated. They're not party animals. I know that my man wears a Panerai. He's got quite a few different colored ones, just big enough, just at a good price point. I know if a client of mine, and my clients are wealthier men, if they're like, "Katy, I don't own a watch," I always say, let's get you one. Like it's kind of a nicer piece. You've made it this far. If you can afford me, you can afford a watch. And I will either say get yourself a Rolex, or I will say get yourself a Panerai. But then she says the Richie, I guess there's a watch called the Richie, is for flashy men. It's basically the price of a house. So she talks about, you obviously, if you can name that, you're probably a gold digger, right? Or you're that interested in watches because your dad taught you something. Usually it's the former. But technically she said, at the very end of her reel, it's like a guy wearing a Fitbit. So she's like, that's a hard pass. But yeah, women do look at watches if they know anything. If they know a little bit, they're still looking at your watch. I know for my current husband, he wanted to buy me a watch before he even wanted to buy me a purse, because it's just a man thing. I didn't have any nice watches. And so I had Michael Kors watches because I worked at Michael Kors. And he wanted to get me the J12, which is a Chanel watch. They come in white and they come in black. and they're about $6,000. So it was a big chunk of change for him. And he said to me, he said, look, I can buy you one brand new one, or I can get you two used ones. I can get you a white one and a black one. What would you like? And look, I am just as practical. And of course, I'm going to take two used ones because nobody can tell when they're used. And I have a white and a black now, and they work fabulous. So see, we can enjoy our material things and still not be materialistic. All right, well, let's move on to cars. Ooh, I just posted this on Instagram the other day. Does the car matter? And I wanted to read this from one of my followers. She says, I definitely pay attention to how a man takes care of his vehicle. It may not be expensive or flashy, but if it is organized and neat and detailed, that is what I'm looking for. Effort. Even if it's an old work vehicle, there's something there about a man who takes the time to detail and keep his car clean, no matter what his income status is. Whoop, whoop. He pays attention to the details in other areas of his life. Correct. She is spot on. Well said. And so we know that men love their cars. And I know that when my man is cleaning his car, he's much more detailed about it. I'm like, take it to the cleaner. It's going to get messy. I got kids running around. I got me throwing all my Amazon returns in there. So I'm not as detailed about it. But who doesn't want to show up in a nice car when you're looking nice and going to a steakhouse? So we do appreciate that. I do encourage men to take a work car on a first date. If you own some really nice cars, really give her the test. Show up in the work car and see how she does on a second date with you, if she'd even be open to it. But I want to give you a story of two Kevins. All right, so I've got Kevin, California, and Kevin, Texas. All right. So Kevin, California was a 50-year-old single guy. He wanted to get married and he wanted to have kids. He realized he was a little late in the game. So he really wanted to date a girl in her 30s who'd be a little bit more fertile. It wouldn't be as stressful. They're a little bit younger, a little bit more fun. They tend not to have as much baggage. I know my 40-year-olds are like, what? That's not true. Girls, it just is what it is. It's what he wanted, and so we were looking. Now he wanted a beautiful girl, and beautiful girls do not get in junky cars. Okay? They just don't. Unless they are the most down-to-earth woman I've ever met. But if she has raised herself and her standards and her looks to beautiful, she would like to be surrounded by things that are beautiful. And so Kevin was dating these younger girls, and he was not driving a great car. And I said, you cannot roll up into Beverly Hills, Avra, Mastros with this car. Like, if she sees it, you're never going to get a second date. So then our goal is not going to be fulfilled, because we can get you dates, but we want to get you a relationship. So he did go buy a new BMW X6. He actually loved it. He maybe needed a little spurring. And for him, it worked, because that was the kind of woman that he wanted. He wanted the next level. He made plenty of money. And these girls want to be treated like that. So that's fair. I don't want to, look, I'll bounce in an old car, but even when I'm rolling up to a nice place, I'm like, give me an Uber Black to get there and take a regular car home, right? So, but let me tell you about Kevin, Texas right now. So he's a great guy, another hardworking guy in his 40s, a little bit more down to earth, doesn't need a hot 30-year-old, just wants a nice woman. And I showed him a girl on Bumble, and she was hot. And you know the difference between hot and pretty. There's the next level hot. And I said, would you like to date her? And he said, oh yeah, I totally want to date her. And I asked him, the next question was, what kind of car do you drive? He said, I drive a Volvo. I said, she is never going to get in your Volvo. Do you understand that? Basically what I was telling him, and yes, he's my client, but again, I'm very practical. She is out of your league. Unless you're going to be rolling up in something fancy, do not think that these girls are going to stick with you. They might go on a date with you. Sure, I'll go on a date, but that's it. They just want free food. They just want to get out, wear their cute clothes, and act like they never work. So really, do cars matter? They do. And again, I've had clients that have two cars just for this reason. My boyfriend has a really cool my husband has a really cool classic car. We're newly married, so I'm still working on that. And it's a 1971 Mach. It gets so many looks. Like, if he had rolled up with that thing on a first date, I'd be like, heck yes, you are my guy. So classic cars can be a really fun addition to your car portfolio. I would like to get a Stingray, a T-top Stingray, Corvette Stingray, for my car portfolio. But so cars do matter. But really it's about taking care of them and keeping them well and helping her with hers. So if I can just add this in, like, we're not all great with cars. So anytime we have a car issue, I always love it when guys would help me out. Always such a blessing. All right, let's move on to clothes. Now, guys, I'm super into clothes. Absolutely love stylish men, stylish women. I give you first date outfits. I have an Amazon shopping cart in my link tree. Guys, dark blue jeans, crisp white shirt, blue blazer, pocket square, fun socks. You should know this by now. I mean, people show up and meet me in the exact outfit I speak of, and I'm like, you look sharp, you look hot, you look good. Ladies, wear dresses, wear colors, like go to my 7 Steps to Sexy course. I talk all about this. So why do people like people that are stylish? And stylish doesn't mean that you are wearing something expensive. This is what I believe stylish means, that it looks good on you. And those two things are noticed because of the cut and the color. So always be mindful of the cut and the color of everything you try on and purchase. And I explain more of how to know your colors in my courses. Again, use the Style Me for 10% off. So, and if looking good was easy, everybody would look good. If being stylish was easy, wouldn't everybody be walking around looking stylish? But they're not. So this is how you know effort is being given into their things, right? Their cars, their watches, and their style. So, and one of the guys I love is Tim Gunn. He was on one of the TV shows, and he used to always say this to ladies. He would say, ladies, flats are for quitters. So even when I ask you guys to dress up, I do the same for the ladies. All right, well, let's get to the last one, homes. Do homes matter? And I've done some podcasts on this where I remind women that not every divorced man wants to go buy another house right now. My man was living in a kind of a mediocre apartment in Texas, but I knew that wasn't his end game. I can tell you that most of my clients, they might have a house, they might be looking to purchase a second house, a lake house, but they're really waiting for the woman. They're waiting for her to come into his life. They don't want to take care of a yard. They just did that with their ex-wife. Or they're making better investments over here financially with a better return, so they know it's not in their best interest to buy a home. So ladies, stop judging a guy on his house, but instead do judge a man on the style of his apartment or his living spaces, right? We do want to make sure that is comfortable for her, cozy. I've been in apartments that are like college dorm rooms, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You're a 50-year-old man. Get rid of these 100 CDs. This guy, like, done. Like, that is just dust. You know, I'm not dusting that, so don't ever expect me to. Incense burning, like, no. Now, first off, it shouldn't be too girly in there, because then you think, okay, is this all his ex-wives or ex-girlfriend stuff in here? But really make sure you styled your home. And I do believe I have an Amazon shopping list for that as well. So I call it the man pad, really having a comfortable space. I know my house was a comfortable space. I actually ordered an extra deep couch from Living Spaces when I became single. I'm talking extra deep. This is the deepest couch I've ever seen in my life. I just parted with it. I'm still sad. But the reason I got that extra deep couch was so if a man came over, you can snuggle a little bit better. So there were intentions in my home as well to make it more relaxing for a bigger guy to come over, you know? And I think that's really what's important. Is there love in these material things? Are you willing to share them, right? And I even biblically, like, God doesn't care if you like money. You can like money, you just can't like it more than you like him, right? So are we still serving people? Are we loving people? Are we giving away? Are we generous? Now, I've dated a lot of guys who had lots of money, but they weren't generous. So ladies, remember, look for men who are generous, you know, and you can be generous in many ways: your time, your talent, and your treasure. So those are all a couple things to be thinking about when you do realize that your stuff matters. Take good care of it. Invest in that. When you invest in your things, you're going to invest in people because you value what's around you. So, all right, you guys, make sure you share this with a friend. Go catch some of my other podcasts, and we will see you next time. Cheers to great dating.